If you were a teenager in the 1980s, I need you to understand something. You did not just grow up in an era. You were raised inside a psychological experiment that nobody consented to. And it was great. Mostly. Your parents genuinely believed that tough love built character. Your teachers were preparing you for a future that no longer exists. And society handed you an extremely clear message. Emotions are weakness, therapy is for crazy people, and if you're struggling, you should probably just try harder. And now you're in your 40s and 50s and everyone around you is shocked. Shocked that you have trust issues, boundary problems, a complicated relationship with vulnerability, and asking for help. I'm Michelle. I survived the 80s and I work with people who survived the 80s. And today we are unpacking the specific psychological inheritance of growing up in the decade that gave us just say no, but never once taught us how to just say yes to ourselves. Here's what we're covering today. First, the 5 core psychological messages the 80s installed in us and how they're still running in the background. Second, why this is hitting differently in midlife and why so many of us are just now figuring out we were carrying all this. Third, what it actually looks like to start uninstalling those messages. And somewhere in the middle, I'm going to say something about the phrase, "you'll understand when you're older," that might reframe your entire childhood. So stay with me. Let's go through the programming because it's specific and it's worth naming. Message 1, emotions are not useful. You were not taught to identify your feelings, process them, or express them safely. You were taught to manage them, push them down, be strong, don't be dramatic. Not now. Go to your room and come back when you've calmed down. So the implicit lesson, your inner life is an inconvenience. And then you became an adult with a full inner life you have no idea what to do with. Funny how that works. Message 2, mental health care is a last resort. Therapy was not normalized. You didn't go to a counselor unless something had gone seriously, visibly wrong. And the result was a whole generation of people who waited until they were in genuine crisis before asking for help. And even then felt ashamed about it. Message 3, your worth is your performance. Grades, sports, achievements, behavior. You learned early that love and approval were linked to output, that good kids got attention, that being too much or not enough had real social consequences. Message 4, self-sufficiency is a virtue. Don't ask for help, figure it out yourself. Handle your business. Being needy was embarrassing. Being dependent was weak. And the result is now adults who are pathologically self-reliant and quietly drowning rather than ask for a hand. The future is your problem to solve, alone. Go to college, get a job, work hard. Success is a personal achievement and failure is a personal failing. No mention of systems, of structural barriers, of the ways the deck might actually be stacked. Now here's the part that gets interesting because you may be wondering why all of this is surfacing now in midlife when you've been fine for decades. Why now? Why are so many of us hitting our 40s and 50s and suddenly feeling like the floor dropped out from underneath us psychologically? Because midlife is when coping mechanisms start to fail. The strategies you built to survive the programming, the perfectionism, the overwork, the hypervigilance, the people-pleasing, they worked. Past tense, they worked. And now your body, your brain, and your life are asking for something different. And you don't have the tools because you were never given them. You were given a really good ability to cope, but coping and healing are not the same thing. Here's the other piece of the midlife timing, perimenopause. For women, the hormonal shifts of perimenopause do something very interesting. They lower the threshold on suppressed emotional content. So things you've been managing suddenly aren't as manageable. Anxiety spikes, old grief surfaces. The things you white-knuckled through in your 30s start demanding attention. Your body is not betraying you, it is presenting you the bill. And it has excellent timing, which is to say, absolutely terrible timing. And there's also the identity piece. Midlife tends to come with a renegotiation of who you are. Kids leave, careers shift, relationships change, and when all the external structures that told you who you were start moving, you're left with the internal ones, which for a lot of us were installed in the 80s and haven't been updated since. So I said something earlier about you'll understand when you're older. Here it is. We were often told that phrase as a silencer, as a way to dismiss what we were experiencing as too young to understand. But we did understand. We understood a lot. We just weren't allowed to say so. So what do you actually do with all of this? Because naming it is useful, but it's not enough. So let's talk about the uninstall process. Name the specific messages that got into you. Not just, I had a hard childhood, but get specific. What were the actual rules in your house? What did you learn to perform? What did you learn to hide? What got you approval and what got you punished? Distinguish between the message and the truth. Emotions are weakness. Emotions are information. Asking for help means you're failing. Asking for help is what intelligent people do when they need it. This sounds simple, yet it is not. Your brain has been running these messages for 40 years. They feel like facts. The work is noticing when you're responding to the message and asking whether it's actually true. You don't fix 40 years of programming in a weekend. You fix it in 1,000 small moments of choosing differently. Grieve what you didn't get. This is the one people skip. You didn't get emotional attunement. You didn't get permission to struggle. You didn't get adults who modeled healthy processing. You got what your parents had to give, which was limited by their own 80s programming. Grieving that is not blaming them. It's just being honest about what was missing. And you can't fill a gap you haven't admitted was there. Build new experiences. The nervous system updates through experience, not insight alone. You can understand everything I've said today and still react the old way until you've had enough new experiences that demonstrate something different is safe. That means practicing vulnerability in small doses, asking for help with low-stakes things, letting yourself be seen, building evidence that it doesn't always go the way it did when you were 15. Here's the beautiful and annoying truth. You are not too old to rewrite this. Your brain stays plastic far longer than the 80s told you it did. I want to leave you with something that took me a long time to get to. The 80s made us resourceful. It made us resilient in some ways. Not the toxic kind where you admit you're struggling, but the real kind. We know how to figure things out. We know how to survive. We built a lot with very few emotional tools. And now the invitation, and I'm using that word intentionally, is to take all of that capability and actually, finally, give it the emotional foundation it never had. You're not starting over. You're finishing something that got interrupted before it could begin. So tell me in the comments, which of these 5 messages hit closest to home for you? And if you want to do this kind of work, the actual unpacking, with someone in your corner who gets it, the link for my clarity call is in the description below. I'll see you in the next one.